I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Port of Oswego Authority, and I'm going to begin by asking everyone to introduce themselves.
Bill Sparrow, Port of Oswego.
Ken Stevens, Board.
Scott Del Conte, Council.
Fran Enright, Board.
John Kara-Smith, Board.
Jerry Brown, Board. Mike Shanley, Attorney.
And Amy Tressetter. Well, we will start with motion 0910-1801 to approve the minutes. That is Exhibit A, if I could get the motion and everyone would like to take a look at them. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Take your time and if there's any changes, amendments, corrections. Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Administrative Operational Report, Exhibit B. If everyone wants to take a look at that, the motion to accept that.
Come on, guys.
Can I have a motion, please, for 0910-1802?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
If everyone wants to take a look at the Administrative Financial Reports A and B and Exhibit C1. Do you have any questions?
Have we wrapped up the work with Sharkey on the marina?
Well, we've wrapped up, in this is the power outage and the result of power outage, the water leakages on 2 of our lines. And as far as Sharkey, he's done, except for next month we're getting a bill putting up the new gin pole that was over on the west side. He's now refabbed it, and we're moving it to put it on the marina.
That is for stepping mass and things like
Yeah,
that?
it's actually, most of it is, it's 90% done and stepped.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna install a safety chain and another thing on it, and it's ready to go for those $400 or $500 mass that will be coming through here anytime.
Do you foresee any work that will be generated for him and the roofing of the Purdue unit?
Next week, well, not this week, week after, I'm going back to Albany to discuss with DOT the possibility of a grant for this. I have 95%, in fact, it was just sent back to me today because I had one of the girls in the office edit items of it for me because I've been kind of like jumping to different things all over the place, so I have to have a set of eyes on it. I'll release an RFP for the re-shingling of dome next week, so we'll have an option. We can either do a repair on it this winter and then do the roof in the spring, or if we get the grant would basically take that dome roof out and replace it with a new one. And we also have a new possibility that next week I have a guy coming in, how they take basically the roof off, go up an extra 15 feet and put a fiberglass dome on it.
Why don't, just a suggestion, why don't you have Sharkey take a look at it and explain the work process to him and see if he sees anything, you might be able to add that in response to the grant.
Okay. Well, you guys looked at it. We came up with a repair for the winter for the product if we don't go with an RFP and order the grant. And that would basically, there's only really one bad spot. And that one spot we know is a possibility of leaks. We're going to basically use that water and ice barrier and actually put it across because it's square. We can overlap it in that area, and that would be a lot less expensive than the other repairs we've attempted, and that would get us through the winter and spring. And if we don't get the grant, then we would then go ahead and take the RFP, choose a roofing company, and reshingle the roof.
Okay, just a suggestion.
Yeah. But I don't want to spend money unless I have to spend money. If I've got a grant still kicking out there.
Yeah.
So,
If anyone, is everyone all set with Exhibit C1? Because I skipped right over Bill's administrative operational report. I apologize for that. I don't know what I was looking at, but. Does anybody have any questions on C1?
No, I don't.
All in favor of accepting the primary financial reports?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes, and now I'm gonna go back to the administrative operational report, Bill, I'm sorry.
that's all right. I'll make it very short. In August, we had two grain ships export, Lakers, for Purdue. Purdue was very happy. We had USDA on site. We have a weak link. It's nothing we did. It was one of the conveyors that Purdue had bought. This Friday, we have a conveyor company coming in and see if we can't somehow get that up to snuff, so to speak, so that we can run constantly. We were down about, one ship, we were down about an hour and a half to 2 hours with that conveyor, and then the second ship, we were only down about an hour. But those hour downages really cost you as far as our flow. We exported just a little under 24,000 metric ton of soybean. They've already scheduled another ship at the end of October and 2 in November. So we'll be hitting our 60,000 metric ton this year, I believe, without a problem. And they've also upped the ante. They're gonna put another 800,000 bushels of soybeans in this fall, after they load out all the ships, so that we can go ahead and do another ship as soon as the St. Lawrence opens in April, in the spring, because they want to continually keep running ships through here. And now how they're going to do that is they're basically going to empty all their other silos they have in the area, bring it up here, and then over the winter they'll buy from everybody else, and then in their silos, when we get shipped, they'll recharge it again, and then we go back into another 3 to 4 ships in the fall. So I think that whole Purdue joint venture we've been having with them is paying off. I didn't want to make a big deal of this, but we still have outstanding that Fitzgibbon's parking and insurance liability up there. I don't have a certificate of insurance from the city. They've used it. I don't know what their plans for this fall. I understand probably baseball is off, but that's an issue. I just wanted to make sure after our meeting with them that you were aware of, that we probably, if it comes back to next year, I really want to make sure that we get an insurance certificate naming us as an additional insured, because that liability would, if anybody was injured or damaged vehicles up there, it comes back to us. As you've already heard from Fran, our new gym pole is being installed, just a few tweaks on it. And yes, it will bring us more revenue, because we'll be able to step larger mass than we could before. We were relying on somebody we all know, a contractor, to do that with his crane. Now that won't be necessary, that revenue will be coming to us. But, oh well. Been a long discussion on the depth of our channel. I want to restate, we are a deep water port. However, to the out world, the Army Corps has labeled us at 23.6 at the inner harbor channel. Now, you add our normal 2.5, 3 foot of water to that, we're at deep water port. But I've been, so to speak, hammered with a lot of questions from a couple shipping companies. And the reputation is, well, you're only at 23.6. They don't understand the dynamics of the Great Lakes from Antwerp and Germany and other ports. You have to add the water level above low water down, and they're not doing that. But in discussing it with the Army Corps, they're going to be back dredging in 2 years at our harbor. It was brought up in 2016 about deepening the channel into the port to allow us to have more consistent deep water throughout the year. Because as we get to the fall, water levels drop for about a month and a half, and as you know now, they'll start coming back up again. Well, we wanted to go down another foot. That was discussed in 2016, but the previous director didn't follow up on it. I'm following up on it. I've written a letter to the Army Corps Senator Schumer's office is very active and supportive of this. They were on the conference call, and first step is done. I've asked for a 107 review of our channel depth for economic development. They're going to be, takes them a couple, 3 months to do the review. They'll come back with us. So the process now is started for 2020. So if it comes that we meet the requirements for deepening the channel, then in 2020 we're looking at it. So we should have been at it now, but now at least we've got that in. As I said before, I'm 95% done with the RFP for the grant roof. Just to let you know, anybody wants to read it, you're more than welcome. It's 9 pages, and it's got to go over everything. Because and the roof, we have to be very, very sure that this is going to be done correctly, and there's a lot into when you get up in the air requirements. So I basically, we're going to have negotiations tomorrow and Wednesday. I probably won't have time to put it out, but hopefully by the end of this week, Monday, I'll have it posted, because everything we do is got to be posted to the New York State contract system and allowed everybody to bid on it. You have today Martin Associates release of the Port of Oswego's economic benefits. We've discussed it with a part of this study you paid for was they have a public relations firm will coordinate the release of this to all the papers and everybody. So you're getting what the report is. We'll be releasing this probably in a week and a half to the public, in the news, reporter, elected officials, everything. It'll be a coordinated rollout. They're going to ask a quote from you, there'll be a quote from me, pictures, stuff like this, and they'll do a full rollout. But, you know, again, I hear how certain entities within the city help economic development. Well, right here, we provide business revenue over $18 million. Our payroll, direct payroll, is 106 jobs, and we produce a huge amount of revenue into our local community through who we hire. Is over $4.6 million in direct job support, which means I would dare any business down there and say they can do $4.6 million outside of the college and maybe the hospital in direct revenue. And these are people that work in the community. These are people who live here and spend right here. So we have a huge impact on Oswego, the county of Oswego, and Central New York. So all this is going to be detailed to the press. Said Amy will have a quote, I'll have a quote. It'll be rolled out to all the people in the area. And I think the state of New York, as we talk about our future, need to really understand that we are a viable economic development engine equal to anything that is in the area. I mean, we're not quite at Novellis's size, but we are certainly in the top 5 or 6 in the area for economic development. And that's my report.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, now we're going to move on to motion 09101803, which is to accept the subsidiary financial reports, Exhibit C2. So please take a look at those reports. If I could have a motion, please. Anyone?
I accept, I make a motion, we accept.
Second. Okay, then everybody take a look before we vote to see if you have any
We are-
questions or concerns.
We are up slightly over last year, not a ton, but this, as I said, is a rebound year. We're making progress, not as fast as I like, but we're headed in the right direction. It's not going down any longer. Also, we are looking at an increase in rail cars, which is due to the tariff. I want to say this, our aluminum is down slightly, and that's the tariffs. They're only bringing in exactly what they need, and we're not getting that huge influx of stockpiles on our dock. What we are experiencing is a huge uptick in Messina aluminum to us from Alcan via rail car. Now, rail cars are only about 110 pieces at most, and about 100 metric ton of aluminum. We're getting a lot of rail cars, but they're still not adding up to barges. But we're getting now an influx. I think that we have just published a new rate structure, and Novelis now is in the process of buying or contracting on aluminum for this coming fiscal year, and we lowered our rates in perfect time. We've already been contacted with 2 companies that haven't been here in a number of years for our rates. So I have to be optimistic. I think it's gonna take us more than just a year to rebuild our aluminum. It's gonna take several years, but we are going in the right direction. We're proving to them that we can do the job, so.
I have a couple of questions. Pertaining to the Impress funds, Hanover Insurance Company, commercial auto policy.
Which number are you on?
I'm on W52, is that how the number?
Yep.
Okay. 10,555 for commercial auto insurance?
Yes.
What did that cover, Bill?
Covers all our vehicles, including our, we own a Freightliner, we own 2 snowplows, we own 1, 2, the Jeep, we own a Crown Victoria, and 2 pickup trucks.
Is that the annual premium?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I felt like a month.
Yeah, me too.
And we're right in the process, as you know, of transferring over from our former insurance agents to Fitzgibbon's agency.
Okay.
So things are gonna be a little bit off center as we do this. There'll be like some partial payments, some new payments. So right now, John is, and Tara, our Fitzgibbon's agency, are just sorting this all out and getting us onto a normal schedule for them. So over the next few months, this is gonna be some bills coming up for insurances that normally wouldn't pop up at this time.
On W54, HSE Consultant Services LLC for asbestos abatement air
Yes.
monitoring. Oh, it seemed like that's an awful lot.
That's less than what they had quoted us at, actually,
Really?
they over 5,200 they quoted us at. That is a requirement of New York State Department of Labor. When you take down a house, they have to monitor it, and it's quite extensive. They're there the whole time, they have to do a survey after. They have our air monitoring machines there at all times, and it took 2.5 days to knock down one and 2 days to knock down the other. So that's not that bad of a price. It's actually less than what they
$1,000 a day.
quoted.
On W55, Diversified Construction Services demolition of 27 and 37 Mercer Street.
Yep.
Did they do a good job?
Very good job. I would have them again. Not only were they less expensive than the other 4 that we had there, they were a pleasure to work with. They handled everything very professionally. They got all the permits.
Was that a
And,
WBE?
Yes, it was. Was a WBE.
Good.
And we got credit for that.
Okay, and I think I got.
Are you just setting me up for softball? So I'm gonna go, thanks.
No, these are all questions I had, and I'm glad you're able to answer them.
If I don't, I'll just over ask Debbie.
I like seeing all the zeros on the AP aging summary, but I do have one question.
Okay.
Regarding Glider Oil Company,
Uh-huh.
how are we doing with marine income? And are we gonna be able to pay the $55,000 oil bill?
Yes, well, actually, the oil bill is actually a pass-through for us.
Okay,
What it is we buy it, I'm not gonna say in public, we buy it a certain amount over rack price, which is the cost of it delivered to the supplier, which would be Glider Oil. And then we put a percentage dollar or cents amount on it. And every bill you see there is coming in as revenue because we order what we need. So during Harbor Fest is basically what these would be hitting you as. We basically receive the revenue for that already.
Yeah.
So,
The bank goes.
yeah, I don't like to call it a pass-through,
Yeah.
but we do not store gas. we sell gas. As we get down to a level, we order more, they come fill us up, it goes. It's kinda like your home fueling oil, you know, as you burn it, you know, you order more, so.
Okay, and I'd just like to say, looking at year-to-date sales reports, I'm seeing fewer and fewer minus signs, so that makes me feel good. How about you guys?
I agree with yes.
We're trying very hard here.
I had one on W-48, that, what's the SUNY Oswego probe staff, what's that?
Yes, that's the agreement we have with SUNY Oswego. We have students actually perform our probe duties for Purdue. So what that is we pay for their services to come in, and they will probe the vehicles, the trucks, for the grain. And what happens is we'll pay them, and then we reimburse SUNY.
Okay, so that's working out, that.
Yep.
so-
Kinda neat that we had SUNY right in our backyard, you know?
Yeah.
And we have a good relationship. They were here you weren't here, Fran, but a couple,
Pam.
3 months
Pam.
ago, Pam Caracoli was
Yeah.
here, and she gave a whole presentation.
Yeah.
Remind me, Patty, to ask Pam to get a copy of that presentation. and give it
Might
to
have
Fran.
one, okay.
Thank you.
Very happy with you. Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting a little nervous about those roofs, so get the whip out.
Close that blind next time so he doesn't see that.
Well, I mean, it is September, you know?
Well, if there are no more questions regarding Exhibit C2, all in favor?
Keep my mouth shut. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We're gonna move on now to chairperson's report, and I have just a very short report.
I forgot that.
Okay, we can, as soon as I'm done,
Yep.
move on. Last week, Bill and Michael and I met with the mayor and the city attorney at City Hall to discuss the tax bills that they have sent us. We explained to them that the port is wholly tax exempt. I will be sending them some further communications regarding this. The city was also concerned about a couch that had been dumped on our property and not removed in a timely manner. Bill addressed that, and we also addressed some mowing issues, and I did advise that they not enter our property without speaking to Bill first. So that's where that stands right now, and that's basically my report this month. Now, Bill has something to add.
Yeah, I forgot to bring this up. Patty gave me the high sign and a piece of paper, and I totally forgot. I figured. We have the 14th annual, the H2O Highway Conference is going to be in Hilton in Toronto, November 13th through the 15th. It's traditional that at least a couple members go to this conference. It's rather large. It covers up the whole lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway. I understand, I've never been to it myself, though I've asked to go to it this year. Usually the chairman goes or representatives of the board. It's a H2O, Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway System, H2O, I'll just pass it around, conference.
Everybody has
think
one
we
in
have
their
it.
binder.
Okay. This is if you're gonna go to one conference, this is everything. They have good presentations. This is where you meet a huge amount of bulk shippers on the Great Lakes. They have really interesting events there. They go over everything that concerns the shipping on the Great Lakes and the Seaway system. Army Corps is there, all the major stevedoring companies. It's really what I understand, when I was in negotiations with the ILA and was going to all those meetings with all the other stevedoring companies in the Great Lakes. This is one that really is a good conference to go to. You learn a lot. It's not just one of those you go to and, you know, hang out at the bar. This is one you go and you get educated and you make very good contacts. So usually the director goes, pardon me, there's been times a couple board members have gone, chairman usually goes. So
Okay.
I'd like you all to consider it. We have a deadline of the 21st to put I don't wanna, I'm cheap, I don't wanna spend extra money, for our early bird special, which is on September 21st. And that's $150 off the regular fee, so, if there's two, that's 300, it's three.
Right,
So, I'd like, you can discuss it
okay,
and let me know, please.
okay. Moving on. Committee reports. Executive committee did not meet and has no report. Audit and finance, I'm assuming there's no report. Governance.
Yes, we do have a report. We met last Friday with Bill Scriber, and we acknowledged his retaining Brown wine rub for 2 months with extensions of 1 month as necessary for the assistance in negotiations with New York State for the inland port contract and amendments. We also authorized the acting executive director to sign the agreement as approved by the Board of Directors Council. And Bill gave me a copy of the letter to him providing legislative and regulatory representation by Brown Wine Rep. So we met last Friday morning here.
Thank you. Planning and development.
Can I just add something into that?
Yeah,
Sure.
We interviewed these guys, right? And we sat and talked to them, and I'll tell you, that Michael, the first one, was really enthusiastic. He showed the most emotion, enthusiasm when it came to representing us. And that was kind of a key for me, because I felt that they would be really strong in representing us and going after what we want. Where I felt that the others, it was just kind of business as usual, and I didn't really feel the love there. So
okay.
anyhow, I feel real good about us moving forward with them. Just wanted to pass that information on.
One last question. Do we need a board resolution to finalize this, or can we presume that the acting executive director has it within his purview to approve this with consultation of the
Yes,
committee?
yes, he does.
Okay.
And the fact that it's brought to the full board, we were fully aware of what he is doing. And he has, as you said, he
Okay.
can do that.
They're a full service, they have
Yeah.
councils on board, they can review anything, they have finance people, they have, that was one of the most, I think,
Yeah.
most full service.
Yeah, full service, and they sound, I mean,
Sound really
on paper, a lot of them sound really, well connected in that, but when I looked at the overall picture and really the enthusiasm, I felt that would be a good fit for us.
Attorney's report, Michael?
Nothing we discussed. Well, I'm not sure, I think we still have to do that in executive session.
Yeah, we'll do this in executive session.
Planning and development, we skipped it. I currently have no report to
Okay.
send.
Okay, thank you.
Unless Bill has something.
No, we'll discuss it when we have the, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have no old business, does anyone else? New business? None. I would like to have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss negotiations and litigation.
We're gonna talk about this letter too.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you.
Thanks.
All in favor of going into executive session? Any opposed? We're in executive session, thank you.